Season finale rider breakdown. I have an unpopular opinion on what happened between Cole Davies and Jordan Smith, where Jordan tattoos himself to the back of Davies' bike, sending him to the hospital. And his teammate had a nice gesture by sending out a jet for his family since he is a minor. I do think that was kind of the Deegans. But if we unpack this, what is going on and who is at fault, if any, right? So the algorithm loves comments, and make sure your voice is heard. This is MX Unfiltered, and since you're down there, you might as well hit that subscribe button. So Davies, what does he do? He triples on, and he ends up rolling. So he rolls and makes a mistake, gets in the main line, and then gets landed on by Jordan. Jordan tries to avoid him because Davies is coming back to the left. You know, the biggest thing that Davies did wrong here is he's a rookie. Okay, he was going in and out of the lane because this is the fast line. It's the dry line. The not fast line that nobody's ever in is the one that's wet right here. The qualifying line is on the outside. But the argument I get from people is that you should never be rolling a Supercross track. And in qualifying, you see everybody roll the Supercross track. They do a fast sprint lap, then they roll. They do another fast sprint lap, maybe another one, and then they roll a little bit. They look at the leaderboard. They want to see where they're at. And sometimes when they look at the leaderboard, they end up swerving back and forth. So you see this a little bit. But as far as him being a rookie, he should have known to just hold his line. That's what he did wrong, was he didn't hold his line. He was in and out, okay? And that's something that he is going to learn. And Jordan, the next time he's around him, he'll probably know that, hey, if I see him rolling, maybe I'm not going to do the big jump here. And so for Jordan, you know when somebody is in front of you and when they're rolling, to not jump and land on them, unless he's probably already in the air. But maybe he thought that Cole was going to at least double something, because if Cole would have just doubled this next one, he would have been going fast enough to barely miss each other, right? So it was like a perfect storm. But I don't think that Cole should be getting as much of the negative context that he is. This was unfortunate what happened to both of them, and you can see it both ways. And yes, okay, it's hard to dive in the middle here, but for this, rarely do I say that there is racing incidents. Usually I'm on one side or the other, but for this one, I see both sides to it. And maybe if you are going to lean one way, you would lean to Cole because he was swerving. You know, at this point, why don't you just go to the other line? But you're putting yourself at risk because you're moving way over on other people. But he tried to just get back into the racing line. That was the big mistake here. Jordan could have not jumped unless he was already in the air, but it was such a split decision thing that you gotta just pretty much just hoax it up to this was a small mistake that ended poorly for both of them. And if we switch gears to Deegan a little bit, saw this in qualifying. Nice little double on the inside. And if you guys paid attention to my rider video, well, and then jump in the corner, but we'll see. So, you know, those are good videos. There ends up being both the quads were hit that we talked about, and that line was hit as well. Deegan also did this, which if we watch, okay, boom, taps, rear brake, huge preload to get all the way up and over to triple. And then you have Juju, which was doing the line that Jordan was doing, which, dude, getting landed on after a giant quad is insane. This was the area that Cole got hit. And that is insane that those guys were okay and Cole did not break his back here. But the first thing that I want to point out is watch Deegan. He soaks this up, okay? And then watch the rear wheel, okay? Pulls in the clutch. Rear wheel stops. He's pointing that front wheel down. He's going to land. You can see his heels are diving, pushing down, getting ready to preload. And then he moves his hips and straightens his legs to get the maximum amount of lift to quad. I personally think that's the harder of the quads. And lands clean to then triple in. So we'll watch that again, and you will notice big preload, And here in the 450s, we see Justin Cooper. Look at this factory suspension. Look at how bad he cases that. And the bike just soaks it up, and he's able to triple again. Incredible. Okay, I was super impressed with just the technology. And yeah, these guys have faith in their motorcycles, but look, he comes way short. Cases that with both wheels. And that's probably the reason as to why it didn't kick so much, is because he cased it with his front wheel first. And that's what they do. That's what a lot of riders don't know about, is you case stuff with your front wheel, not your rear wheel. Do you see how that motorcycle is not wheelie high? It's dived down. And even though he just barely hits it, well, it's still enough to make to the point where he's not going to rebound. Boom. You can see it. Cases with the front. Okay, that is riding technique right there. And then the rear, I give it up to the suspension guys to not have that sucker rebound. Okay, but this is the difference between a professional team, professional bike, and professional talent and rider. They know how to do these things. And that is a good segue to CompleteRacingSolutions.com. They've got a membership where you get bike-specific protocols. You've got programs that include strength and flexibility, nutrition and hydration. He's got a chat bot that gives you specific riding knowledge, which is super cool. And he's got a mental development program, which is out of this world. Highly recommend, along with some youth training programs as well. And you do get discounts on his nutrition if you are a member. So check that out at CompleteRacingSolutions.com. I can't help but feel bad for Seth, because this championship at this point was his to lose. And you see Juju lets him by. But then this was, in my opinion, a little overly aggressive. Just boom, just goes in there and just hits him hard. And he's had a rough year. Okay, these kids are young, but that's what makes the 250 class so much fun to watch. You know, I really like his gear, by the way. That One Industry stuff is sick, especially that full white stuff. But I kind of hop this up to potentially, if you have the chance and the opportunity, slow down, because you literally have two coasts racing each other. So if I was a team manager, I'd be saying, hey, if you have the opportunity, take it. If it's not there, don't let it mess up your race, because you are still racing for position, you know, and these guys are all wanting to get in other riders' heads for motocross, right? But there's just more context when it comes to your teammate Tom Vial is needing to beat this guy. And so if you almost put him on the ground, well, it's good for the team. I thought that was a little overly aggressive. And if we go to what happened, he didn't have to do this. But at the same time, he had to do this, because if he would have still passed Seth, I believe he would have had to win the race and pass Deegan to win the championship. Okay, just the point swing as it wasn't enough. He had to have Seth either get past or him pass another rider, at least RJ passed another rider, in order to win the championship. So it was just, hey, goes balls to the wall. This is the Joey Savacci and Zach Osborne incident. But unfortunately, RJ on the Husky, you know, it's funny. It's literally the same motorcycles, just like 10 years in the future. Just doesn't work for RJ where it did Zach. Maybe if he needed to be a little bit more of a snack pack, he would have been able to keep it on two wheels and make sure that he didn't crash. Because, you know, you were a hero and then it looked like zero for both of you, basically. And Tom Vial ends up just being Mr. Consistent and ends up winning the championship. So I feel for all these guys, but really it was Seth's to lose. RJ had to have more luck involved, and the dude that ended up having the most luck was Tom Vial. Here, the whoop master, the Stewart's little brother, who's actually bigger than him. But watch this. Watch as he lifts the front wheel and he misses the second whoop. He uses the starter whoop. He misses the second whoop. It lands on the third whoop with his front wheel. The ass end kicks up and he's able to just across all of them. Beautifully executed. And this is what people should practice when trying to learn whoops. You want to try to wheelie into them, and you want to place your front wheel on the third or fourth one. Super scary to do, but if you can do it correctly, that ass end is going to instantly go to 90 and you're going to be able to go da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Just like Stewart is doing here. Well, that is it, guys. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, and we got lots of content, or at least I got lots of content planned for motocross. Till next time, keep it WFO. Bra-da-da-da.